Mike's Daily Podcast.
Oh, this is going to be a Kleenex show because my nose is leaking this morning. Thank you for listening to Mike's Daily Podcast. I am Mike Matthews, your host, broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley-Mont, the last place on earth. I do this show very early in the morning. I get up at 4 o'clock in the freaking morning. And if you want me to come to some kind
Mike's Daily Podcast
movie night in the middle of the freaking week, then you're crazy, because there ain't no way.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I'm staying up past 9 o'clock. I gotta get at least 6 hours sleep. Yeah, that's not really what the doctors say is good for you and the other peeps. You should be getting at least 8. That hasn't happened in a while, and I think that makes my lady friend feel great. She's feeling guilty right now, but that's
Mike's
true.
Daily Podcast.
I have not gotten 8 hours sleep, except on the weekends, and that's not good. You need 8 hours sleep, and I am a strong advocate.
Mike's
and I've seen it work.
Daily
I had a foot last year.
Podcast.
Well, I have a foot this year as well, but
Yeah!
my foot last year was... oh, that's Carl Castle. My foot... Carl Castle. Who the hell's Carl Castle? Nah, he's some NPR guy. And he's on C-SPAN for some reason. Hey, what I have C-SPAN on here at Cafe Anyway, because we're trying to be all intelligent and whatnot. My foot hurt so bad last year. Oh, look, I just walked in. And it would not heal. It was just always hurting. And it wasn't until I got 8 hours of sleep for like 2 weeks in a row that it finally healed. I was, oh my God, that's all it took? Sleeping? Getting enough sleep? Your body needs time to repair things. And my lady friend is listening to this going, oh. But it's true. We as a society need to get to bed earlier. Hey, look who just walked in. Some other people walked in. And I'll say hi to them now and address them as such.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. And yeah, sleep is important and stuff.
It is. It's good to get sleep. Look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman! And this is John Deere, the engineer. I put people to sleep just with me talking.
And here's today's podcast picture.
May I just say that I work at a radio station that has, let's just say a format that will definitely put you to sleep. You're just like listening going, what in the hell? Oh, hey, I got a little tweet to the tweet on my phone. What was that about? Oh, hey, I just heard from my former roommate who moved to China. Let's see what he said. I have to communicate with him over WeChat since no other apps are allowed in China. Let's see. He says, I asked him, are you watching the World Cup? And he said, only if the matchups are good. But it's pretty big here in Asia. Everyone's into it. Do you have any exciting plans this summer? Going anywhere? I don't need to tell him that information. Because if I do, then the whole government of China is going to know. No, well, yeah. Hey, former roommate, if you're listening to the show, I am going to Florida in August. And there you go. August is going to be great. Talked to my mom yesterday. She's doing well. She's about to go on a cruise, a little gambling cruise. Yes, where you hop on the boat. They basically, I think you pay $20, and that's just to get you to the boat, which is a bit of a drive. So you have to take a bus with a bunch of seniors, and there's lots of seniors in the Florida. And so she'll go down there, and she'll do a little gambling, and it'll be a nice, I've done it, actually, I've gone on this gambling trip, and I don't gamble. So basically all I did was eat the free food. They had, they had tiny little sandwiches and as many bags of Fritos as you wanted to eat. So nice. And this is all you hear. So I went out on the deck and just stared out at the coast as we floated along. Oh, and then there was a John Denver impersonator who sang Rocky Mountain High. But all my memories gather round her, lovely lady, stranger to blue water. Life is old there, older than the trees. Necessitate the moonlight, sunrise in my ease. Country road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country road. Sorry I went all Ted Nugent on you, but that was so... Oh, there was also a Marilyn Monroe impersonator who, let's just say, was a bit on the heavy side. But she still wore that white dress. It was a big white dress. The white dress that Marilyn Monroe wore. What do you call it? The hall something? There's some name. And she had her hair all bleached, blonde, and up at the... I don't know fashion words. She had clothes on. So... This was this was so funny because I was practically the youngest person on this boat, and all these seniors sitting in there listening to, I mean, it was crammed. The lounge was just full of people, and Marilyn Monroe, fake Marilyn Monroe, big Marilyn Monroe is walking around singing to everyone, and then she'll find a nice, hot, old guy, let's say, who could barely stay awake, but he's staying awake for big Marilyn Monroe, and Marilyn Monroe sits on his lap, and, well, it's just the cutest thing. It's just the creepiest thing, but it's just a thing. And so that guy would say,
"Hey, man, I'm 91 years old. Got that? I deserve a little respect from you, my buddy."
Yeah.
I'm 87 years old. I've been around since dirt was born.
I think I also heard this sound, too, when Marilyn Monroe was sitting on the old man's lap. But back to the show. That was uncalled for. This is the part of the show where I say some mean things about This American Life. Hate the show. Hate it. Hate it. Because as a radio producer, I produce other people's podcasts. Other people's podcasts. It's OPP. Yeah, you know me. And I produce their shows, and I know when I listen to This American Life how vapid it is, how whiny it is, how they paint this whole picture, let's say, of a young single mom who's got 3 kids, who's trying to work at Walmart, but oh no, she's pregnant again, and she can't lift the huge boxes of rotisserie chicken in the deli section. And she tells her boss, and the boss says, "Well, Demi Moore could do somersaults when she was 9 months pregnant." And so that actually happened. And yeah, that Walmart employee has every right to sue the pants off that stupid Walmart boss for saying that. But yet, I'm listening to this story, and I like to get all the facts before making judgment. And it's hard to get all the facts when you're listening to a This American Life type podcast, because they've got these long stretches of music that, here, I'm going to go on YouTube right now, and I'm going to type in these words: Wimpy This American Life music. Let's see what we get. This is the first thing we get. I don't know why. Okay, that's a cool song. Jim Steinman wrote that. Jim Steinman, an amazing songwriter who wrote such classics as the one. He wrote some bad stuff. I would do anything for love. And he wrote all the other Meatloaf songs that were on that first album that people like. The one with the baseball sound effects in it. Paradise by the Dashboard Lights. That one. He wrote that. He also wrote the song that Celine Dion did. It's all over now, but it's all over. And it's all coming back to me. It's all coming back. It's all coming back to me now. Well, at any rate, it's just the worst crappy podcast, and I hate it, and it's the number one podcast in the land, and it just okay, there's this guy, a conservative talk show host that we have on one of the conservative stations I work for, and he always rails against the left and says the problem with the left and liberals is that they run on pure emotion. They never are practical. They never use their rational side. All they run on is, I guess, it's the bleeding heart, as a bleeding heart liberal. And the thing is that I've heard conservatives the same way. That, oh my God, but they do it this way. They go, oh, you are trying to take away my church, my God, my Jesus, my kids, my family, my beliefs, the things that my parents taught me, and my daddy and my daddy's daddy and my daddy's daddy taught me. So there's that emotional element on the conservative side as well. But I do get, when I listen to This American Life and some other podcasts that are a little left-leaning, I go, you're not giving me the facts. This is all I'm saying. All I'm saying is you gotta, when you're getting the fluff, and this pertains to documentaries, when you're watching a documentary on YouTube like that, I have to refer to my friend Kevin, who has these great texts that he sends me, and he really wants to know who the herbal guy was that I was talking. I knew he would. He's like, who's that guy? Please tell me it was bleep. I'm not going to say his name on the podcast, but I will tell you in private, Kevin. And by the way, you can always text me at 336-MM-DAILY. That's 336-MM-DAILY. Please remember that messaging charges apply. If you don't know that by now, you don't live in the 21st century, and you don't realize the concept of messaging. Messaging is a special thing your phone service sets up, and you usually have to pay for it unless you get the unlimited plan, which most of us do because we're not stupid. But hey, this is back to what the guy said. Oh, who's the anti-vaccine doofus was the question I got. He wants names. I talk in generality. I don't want to name people on my podcast because I don't know. That person might be listening. And I don't, there could be this show might have a reach. By the way, this show has a huge reach, and you should sponsor it. You can let me know by calling 336-MM-DAILY and sponsor the show. We'll set up a thing. We'll get it all going on. We'll have a little cash transaction. We'll have I just shot any chance I had at getting a sponsor for this show. Oh, well. But that's neither here nor there, anywhere up there. What the hell?
Busted eardrums.
Let's just say that anti-vaccine doofus was duped. The doofus was duped by a stupid, emotionally run documentary on YouTube. We shouldn't be giving our kids medicine. When they get a shot, it hurts them. Yeah, that's you. If you don't get shots, if you don't get vaccinated, you're gonna get sick. You're gonna get dead, and you're gonna get this little music bed played for you at your death day. Oh, I can't find the music thing. Bed. There it is. That was the music thing making music for you. All right, I want to zip through some things because I only got about 5 minutes. I only got about 5 minutes left in my bow. So let me just wrap up the show for you in a tiny little bow and say to and fro here at Cafe Anyway, where we broadcast to you the show. Apparently, North Korea is upgrading their nuclear research facility. Oh, hey, how does that make you feel, Trump-o-matic? Does that make you say anything?
United States.
Okay, he's drunk.
What was that all about?
Yeah, images obtained by North Korea analysis and analysts. It's called 38 North, actually. This analysis network outlet says that they're upgrading their nuclear facility. Interesting. Despite pledge to denuclearize. Is that going to be the Utah? Oh, Mitt Romney won the Utah primary. There was some question if he would do that. Dan Ingram has died at the age of 83 after choking on a piece of steak. And that's not a great way to go out, sadly. But he was a famed New York DJ, pioneer of the AM Top 40 radio world. Oh, that's too bad. You know what? After 80, I ain't gonna be eating steak. I'm not eating steak now. I barely ever eat steak. So I think you shouldn't eat so much steak. I think you need to give these guys a rest once in a while. But okay, so you look at all these guys like the Rat Pack, and they all died of basically the same thing, of eating too much red meat or drinking too much, or one of those things. At any rate, you gotta watch your diet the older you get, is all I'm saying. Hey, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez defeated Joseph Crowley in the New York primary. Joseph Crowley's loss is likely to shake up Congress, where he was seen as the top contender to replace Nancy Pelosi. Ay, ay, ay. Democrat heavyweight. Huh. Joseph Crowley of New York, once seen as a possible successor to Nancy Pelosi, suffered a shocking primary defeat. The most significant loss for a Democrat. Let me just say, this is not good days for Democrats. We had yesterday the Supreme Court saying, "Look, you basically, the Muslims are still banned." Well, it's the Muslim ban, but it bans other countries that are not Muslim. So whatever you want to call it, the travel ban. That's the real name. And the Supreme Court, from what I was able to pull from the very informative The Daily. It's a podcast called The Daily from the New York Times. Let's zip through this really quick. Is that they found that, hey, President Trump said this, and we're not going to say that the president that an order from the president is wrong if it comes from a guy who we think is
Wrong.
Racist. Now, here's the thing is, like, okay, so that is, I guess what they're saying is, in a subjective world, even though it might be obvious to you, you feel, hey, Trump is complete racist. Okay, but it's still a subjective thing, is what the court is saying. It came down to party lines, basically. The Supreme Court's conservative. Supreme Court's conservative. This is why it's a bad day for Democrats. Supreme Court's conservative. The Senate is pretty much conservative, although there's some things they can't pass, and it ticks off Trump because he can't pass it because there's still Democrats holding out. The House of Representatives, totally conservative. So you've got those, all the branches conservative, basically. And then there's the Garland Merriweather, who was supposed to, or Mariner, Submariner. Garland Submariner was the guy that Obama wanted to replace Antonin Scalia when he died. So that's what he wanted. And Obama said,
I will welcome ideas from anybody.
And he tried to get in Garland, and Mitch McConnell said, no, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to allow that to happen because we got the majority in the House and Senate. So, was what he said. Wowsa was what he said. So then, Trump becomes president, and Trump runs around the track with his big man boobs, and he's running, and he says the following. Wait, I can't find it now. Where's this thing where he says, I won? Oh, here he is.
I won.
Okay. And so he won. And so now Gorsuch is in there, and now we have a very conservative Supreme Court. So, Supreme Court says, hey, so Trump, he's not racist, or it doesn't matter what this is an exact. They tried to separate it. There, I think I explained it completely clearly. Didn't I? I did such a great job. Thank you. What's interesting is Sotomayor, the Supreme Court Justice Sotomayor, that Obama appointed, right? Yeah. Thank you.
I appreciate that.
So Sotomayor said, hey, you know what? This is almost like that, what's it? Oh, I can't think of the name of it. But the particular Supreme Court ruling way back in the 40s that began the concentration camps for Japanese Americans. Okay, so so she said this is the same thing. This is by endorsing Trump's ban, you're saying that was okay. Drew some kind of connection, to which the conservatives that said the whole thing about that upheld Trump's travel ban, they said, you know what? No, Sotomayor, that was a horrible idea. You're right. No, that was a terrible idea back then, to putting Japanese in concentration camps. That was a bad idea. They actually finally, in legal writing, as we go outside a cafe anyway, because I'm running out of time, said that was a bad idea. So I don't know if I'm saying this in a way that will blow your socks off, so to speak. But the Supreme Court finally conceded that this idea that we've known historically for years to be horrible, the internment of Japanese Americans, was a bad idea. It's finally in writing. That's one of the big things that happened yesterday, believe it or not. Also now, the places that counsel women that are thinking about terminating a pregnancy, they no longer have to, or they cannot be forced to tell them, you can also get an abortion. They are not allowed to say that, or they don't have to say. They're not forced to say that. In California, you were forced to say that, hey, you know what? You can also get an abortion. And now they don't have to say that because you've walked into their building and they are going to counsel you and tell you, no, have the baby. Keep the baby. Sarah Sanders, however, not welcomed into a restaurant. You've heard that story by now. Somebody was doing the thing, hey, maybe what the deal is here is the same as the wedding cake. The wedding cake people said, hey, we don't have to make your cake. The guy that runs the restaurant said, I don't have to serve Sarah Sanders. Well, no, Michael Medved said, no, the guy that said that you didn't have to make the cake, he was also saying, no, I don't want to make the cake. Oh, I gotta go. Oh, he said, no, I would make the cake. You can have any cake you want. But, ooh. Okay, I have to go. There was some kind of interesting, if you really get into the weeds, they're not the same thing, but yet they seem on the face of it. I need to tell you next time about the worst radio day I ever had, which was in Alabama. I'm going to tell you about that next show. Also, we will talk to the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. The other reason why I'm no longer listening to On Them talking about that last show is because they spend 5 minutes begging for money at the beginning of their podcast. Their podcast, which is ridiculous because you can just fast forward through it. You could have fast forwarded through this to get to the very end, but then you would have missed me saying, you're going to have a great day today. Remain positive. Take a deep breath and let it out slow. There you go. That was very helpful, wasn't it? Excellent. Okay, get your sleep. 8 hours, remember that. 8 hours, that's what you need. All right, I think I'm going to stop. And that was episode 1658, 1658.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!